So after years and years and years, well, my whole life, literally, of not taking any any kind of medications, except for maybe when I, got injured and they sent me home with a pain pill or something for an infection. The doctor has finally encouraged me to and convinced me to try some blood pressure medication, which I've always adamantly avoided doing. But I have cut down on, I've cut out sugar, salt, caffeine, all kind of things. And my blood pressure is always high, and I keep saying, well, what does it matter? I feel fine. And the doctor says, because it's going to kill you finally if you don't do something. So 3 days ago now, it's my third day, I let him give me a prescription. I took a blood pressure pill, and I checked it this morning, and it's right where it should be. And I haven't had any negative effects except that I get dizzy from time to time. And they said that would happen because they said when your blood pressure goes down, your body's going to need to adjust to it, so you're going to be dizzy for a while. So what I did do with the energy that I had over the last few days is I did make a huge mess in my garage. Now, my garage is not as messy as MrHevyShevy's workbench, but it's close. And I have learned over the years, and proven this to be true once again, is you can't do anything unless you pull out every tool you own. You can't do electrical work unless you get out every piece of electrical working stuff that you own, and that's kind of what we got going on here in the floor. But what I have done, and I might have shown some of this in a previous video, is I have changed the wiring to this box here. This wiring that you see down here in the floor is the old wiring, which I have now disconnected. I have this new wiring running to here, and from here it goes up to this box and down to that plug, which is a welder plug, 50 amp welder plug. And I put some new breakers in this box that are hooked to nothing right now, but I wanted some new breakers because I want to run power back to the building directly behind us, and I want to run a dedicated line over to that air conditioner. So I have managed to do all that. Although at some point I wasn't making videos because, to be honest with you, it was just hard enough to keep plodding along and doing what I was doing. By the way, I have a palm tree down here. I'm going to have to do some cleanup, but we'll get to that later. Now, what I did, I think I was showing you going under the barn and pulling out a big power line at one point. So what I have done is I've run that power line into a box right there. And this cover will go over that box so that all of this is out of sight. This line runs into a pipe here, which is going to get buried, and it's going to go underground along with this water hose, which is PEX pipe, which I replaced the water hoses that I had run back here because they don't hold up. They tend to break after a little while. And I want a pipe that's sturdy enough to be able to depend on. These will get buried because I mow this yard, and I have been just, skipping across the top of these, raising the blade, but I want it so I can just mow it normally, and it's out of sight and out of mind. And this line, I put a splitter in the water line here so that I have a place to hook a water hose right here, which puts me in easy range of Honey Baby's little greenhouse. It also enables me to hook a water hose here if I want to wash the hot rods down here. And y'all seen me do that, on more than one occasion already. I've come out here and washed a car before a car show. And this water line runs along the edge of this concrete and out there, and it hooks to the camper, along with all these lines here are 30 amp camper extensions, which is what I was using. I had this red line coming off this splitter and running into here so that I had some power down here, and I had that splitting off one of those. So with all these 50 feet extensions, I had like 4 of those between here and that camper, and it seemed to be fine, but this isn't the way I want to do things. So what I have now is this line and this piece of concrete here that runs all the way across the top. I gotta lean on this because I'm having a dizzy spell. In fact, I might have to sit down. That's the blood pressure medication. So it's four inches of concrete here. If I pull the rocks back away from this, I should be able to put this water line and this electrical line down in there and rake the gravel back over it. And then down here, I have brought that line into the building, right there. And I'll probably build a little hood to go over that, just keep me from ever hitting it with a lawnmower or something. And now, see, there's more of all of my tools. I have everything out here. This is what I'm using for line, by the way. This is 8.3. I think they call it 8.3. And I've read that you can put 50 amps through that and stretch it for 100 feet and be okay. So all of that is running to here. This is that box I was working on the other day. I've got a 30 amp breaker here, so I've got a choice: either run more line out there and put another box out there, or just bring these drop cords in and just plug them in right here. Now I've got a 50 amp camper plug here in case any of my friends with a big camper ever come to visit. They can park here and plug their camper in. I've also got 50 amps up here on a separate breaker, and if I want to, I could run more line back to my back building back there, because I want to run a few power tools down there for banjo work. What I'm going to do today, once I get over the dizzy spell, is bury this line and then hook it up. And it rained last night. It might rain some more today, which actually makes it easier for me to open up the ground with a sharp bladed shovel enough to put this down into that. Now you see the white line goes on around the house. That's where the water is, around there, and I ran it under that back patio porch thing, and it's going to run across here where I have gravel that goes around the edges of my buildings. And I also want to make a path from right where you see this, so that when I bury this, I want to also make a stone gravel path, so that when I want to walk down to my buildings, I can come down and walk along the stone path and down here without walking through the grass and getting my feet wet. Like if you walk down here in your flip-flops and the grass is wet like it is this morning, you get your feet wet. That's a pain. So here's another one of those extensions right here that I can pull out of here. So that's what I'm doing today. I don't know if any good videos will come out of this or not. This might be a good day to spend part of the day just sitting down and making some videos, because I'm getting a little bit behind on my video making lately. You know, my life exists in two parts. Let's walk in here. Let's walk in here. My life kind of exists in two parts. One part is the real and actualness of what I do all the time, which is basically the stuff like this that you see. And the other is me making videos about it. Let me sit down. I'm feeling the dizzy.